What is up, a YouTube nation? Today we're going to be doing a video on patch 7.2. And you know, a lot of shit's happening. NIDALEE buffs, YASUO buffs. Wait, that's a nerf. What else is in my title of the video? DARIUS getting nerfed, Redemption is finally getting nerfed, and Courage of Colossus, that's also getting a nerf. So there's going to be a lot of changes happening in this patch, which I think is going to be coming out this Wednesday. And yeah, pretty interesting stuff if I say so myself. But you know, before we start this video, let me just take a swig out of this drink. GG Gamer supplements. So good. Oh, so good. It's just so fresh. Now, if you want to try some of this drink, you can check out my link in the description below for some of your own GamerGG.supplements. Now, with all that being said, let's get started with this video. I'm also peacing out, by the way. Oh, who the fuck was that guy? How the hell did he get in this video? Oh well, it doesn't matter. Anyways, first up, we got that young Lethality finally getting a buff in patch 7.2. As you guys know, armor penetration, it was 40% on level 1, and it kind of scales as you go up in levels, and there's just this like formula, and we all know lethality is shit, but finally they're buffing it and adding some awesome power to it, so champions like Kha'Zix, Zed's not meta. He might be after this patch, and like Miss Fortune is someone who uses lethality, so she gets a buff in this sense. But I think champions like Kha'Zix will stop building Black Cleaver and maybe go more for lethality now since it's been buffed. But I don't know, it's still, you know, it's not armor penetration. It's only 60%, so maybe not. But there's actually more buffs for DUSKBLADE and Edge of Night coming up. Next up is going to be Darius, and this is going to be a very, very weird nerf because Darius isn't OP. He's like, you know, he's decent, not like an OP champion, but for some reason, he's getting a nerf to his passive, you know, the super bloodlust thing, and they're punishing you for hitting people with your handle on your Q. As you can see, it's being lowered to 35% instead of 50%, which, you know, basically your Q is going to be useless if they're in melee range, and yeah, your trading is going to suck, but the thing I don't like about this nerf is he's not OP, he's like decent, not OP, so what's the point of this nerf? It's honestly kind of silly. I don't know, maybe he's just shitting on low elo and people are complaining, I have no idea. Either way, I think these nerfs are uncalled for. Next up, GRAGAS is getting a buff. A small one, but a buff. As you can see, armor is going up by 3, and the healing on his passive is going up by 2%. It's a small buff, and there's a very little chance that he might come back into the meta in the jungle, but like, holy shit, this champ, you know, sucks after the ultimate nerf. You can't flash E into someone and then use your ultimate. I'm pretty sure they can flash out of your ultimate now before it lands, due to that nerf they had a while ago, and his win rate on Champion GG right now is 46%, so yeah, maybe these buffs will put him up to like 47.5%. It's not like a huge buff, but I don't think it'll make him a meta jungler. So it's alright, but he needs more than this to become meta. Next up, KATARINA is getting a nerf to her AD ratio on her E. So KATARINA is in high elo a very OP champion. She is like usually 100% banned or picked just because of how obnoxious she can be in team fights and how much damage she does. Honestly, she does so much damage, and those daggers provide a lot of zoning. Otherwise, of course, AoE damage, and yeah, I mean, holy shit, 15% less. This means HEXTECH Gunblade won't be as good on her anymore. And this is an AD ratio, not a bonus AD. So as she gains levels, her E won't be doing as much damage as it did before. I think she'll still be played, but maybe not permabanned as much. Probably not. It's also a small nerf, but whatever. HEXTECH Gunblade gets nerfed also, but we'll talk about that later. Next up, in general, Master Yi is getting a buff to his kit. Now his passive works like Lucian passive, where if he kills a minion, his double strike will strike the nearest minion, and now his W will gain stacks of double strike for each second he channels, plus his E and R will be paused for when he meditates, so you don't lose your 10-second duration on your E or R when you need to take some reduced damage or just heal up. And yeah, just a general buff for his kit, but he won't be meta because these buffs are too small. He needs more buffs for him to see, you know, play in high elo or competitive play, but I don't think Riot wants to see him in competitive play because he is not, well, he's pretty simple. And if he did see like competitive play, well, he'd be considered probably OP. Next up, NIDALEE is actually getting some buffs. Base health is going back up by 30. Traps are now invisible, they can be revealed and destroyed, so just think Jin E. And there's a limit on how much traps you can have on the map, but it doesn't say duration, but I assume it's going to be 2 minutes. So I guess you're going to put your W's more in the enemy's jungle and find him if he steps on it, or like, you know, usual jungle paths. But usually whenever the jungler walks in a bush, they'll probably step on it anyways, so I don't think it's that big of a buff. But the E value has been increased by 10 at all ranks and 20 for the maximum heal. Small buffs, NIDALEE players will rejoice, but she won't be OP. She needs more to be OP, and plus if she had more, she would be super annoying, and again, one of the champs you gotta ban. Thank God she's not OP, because I can't play her and I hate it when I face NIDALEE players, especially when she was meta. That was just, you know, super annoying to deal with. Next up, we're going to be talking about YASUO, and as you can see, his E is getting a nerf, but they're adding an AD ratio to his E, so, for every 100 AD, you get 20 more damage on your E. Oh wait, this is actually pretty huge, because his damage in the laning phase has been nerfed, and I think you might be maxing out Q now? I'm not sure. But if you max out Q now in the laning phase, your laning phase got shit on. I mean, early levels of your E, it's fine, but like, well, actually, you do only use it once in a trade, and your main source of damage is your Q and, you know, auto attacks. I mean, levels 1 to 5, it's probably going to be the same, but once you hit level 7 and 9, you'll probably notice like 50 damage less. But in that late game, you'll be doing more damage, so that's good. By the way, the bonus AD ratio does not stack with the 50% more, so yeah, that sucks, but I don't even think you'll be doing more damage, to be honest. Maybe at like 5 or 6 items, but majority of the time your E will probably be weaker, and yeah, basically this is going to be a big nerf to him, I think. Next up, ARDENT CENSER is getting a buff. I think it's needed because, you know, this item isn't really scaled that well into the late game, and if you get it sooner, like at level 9 or 10 or 11, it's pretty good. But it loses its like power once you're like level 18. And yeah, you get 15% more attack speed and health drain based on your AD carry's level or whoever you're healing. So you might see supports like Janna, Soraka, of course, getting this along with Redemption now. You know, people who have AoE shields or AoE heals like Sona, it might be really good for on-hit comps. I think you'll probably see more of it in the future. The buff is pretty good, I'd say. It almost doubles the stats at like level 18. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if people start using this. Next up is going to be DUSKBLADE of DRAKTHARR. The base damage on this passive is actually being increased by 25, so that's 25 more true damage, and I've actually never really seen this item being used on anyone except like Misfortune. Maybe Kha'Zix will start using it because of his R, and of course Lethality got buffed, but yeah, I mean, ooh. Vayne, maybe no, that was like proven that it was a pretty shitty build, but yeah, all these Lethality items getting buffed, ooh. I'm just wondering, maybe you might see more Assassins. Well, you'll probably see more Kha'Zix, that's about it. Next up, Edge of Night's cooldown has been lowered to 30 seconds instead of 45 seconds. So the only champion I've actually seen this on is Misfortune, just because she's a champion who needs to have her ultimate channeled and not interrupted. Other than that, I don't really see anyone else using it. So, you know, all of these lethality buffs, it actually just helps Misfortune a lot. And I'm pretty sure you'll probably see her more as an AD carry in this patch, and she might be, you know, super OP or something. Ooh, next up, I have EQUINOX finally gets plus 10 CDR. It's like the only item that doesn't have plus 10 CDR. That's an upgrade from the, you know, support items. I have Oasis has it, I have the Watcher has it, but for some reason this item never had it. I don't know why. Either way, ever since this item never had 10% CDR, I've always been skeptical of why I should buy it over a Face of Mountain or just leave my Sightstone as it is. But you know, I saw a bunch of other supports buying this item on like Blitzcrank and stuff, so I just went with the flow, but finally, I can finally feel good about myself when I buy this item again. Because like before I did the math with Eye of EQUINOX versus a Face of Mountain or just letting it sit a Relic Shield plus Sightstone, it was bad. I didn't understand what the reason was to buy Eye of EQUINOX in the first place was, except, you know, get one more ward, but like the item was, it was bad. Now it's good. Next up, HEXTECH GUNBLADE is getting a nerf, so again this is indirectly nerfing KATARINA. Also this nerfs Corki, and I think Jax uses this as well. So once you do get this item, you won't be instantly killing people and one-shotting them. There's going to be like 75 less damage. It still has its AP ratio, but it won't be as nuky as it was in the early levels as it was before. Next up, Redemption is finally getting a nerf. As you can see, the health you get on it is being lowered by 100, mana regen is being increased, but I'm pretty sure you don't really run out of mana. And the unique active has been lowered significantly by 90 at level 1, but it scales up a little bit better. In comparison at level 18, it used to heal 490. Now, oh, it still heals for 490, but you know, levels 12, 13, 8, you'll be healing a little bit less, but I think it's still going to be a staple item on supports to get, along with maybe ARDENT CENSER. And finally, okay, this is the biggest meta changer in this patch. As you can see, Courage is being nerfed. The base shield value has been reduced significantly, so in the laning phase, the shield you're going to go through is going to be easier to break. But it still gives you 5% for each nearby enemy champion, so that's still going to be good for team fights. Oh, this is basically just the laning phase nerf, and of course just like a big health number gone. Like, you know, 130 less shield value, that's still kind of big, but I mean, if you're a tank who has 3000 hit point, it's not that bad, you know? You still get the 5% for each nearby champion, but also duration has been lowered by 1 second, so your big health shield will dissipate faster if they can't get through it already. Now I think you're going to be wondering, Pants, will you be taking Courage of the Colossus on Hecarim still? The answer, I'm going to say, I think yes. I'm considering taking Thunderlords, but I'm pretty sure this is still going to be a good master to take. We'll see though, my opinion might change. And yeah, that's it. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, I am Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.